Hello, everybody. This is Nicole Whitlock with eCom Sellers. And this is the print on demand challenge. We are so excited, making some progress. I'm excited about the game plans. So, today we're actually going to start on the first part of the game plan a little bit. Yesterday's conversation, we already had this on the agenda. So, we're just moving it up just a tad bit because for me, what I've found over the years is that some of the reasons why people don't continue to work in their e-commerce business is that they haven't figured out how to manage their life and their schedule with doing this business. Like there's always some competing priorities. It's always family or job or kids or taking care of somebody else. And I get it. Trust me. If anybody gets it, I get it. And so I understand that stress and that frustration. So we're going to do an exercise. Before we do the exercise, want to ask what questions do you have, if any, regarding yesterday's information or where we are in our journey? So this week, our stretch goal is 7 listings and our minimum goal is 5 listings. So, what questions can I answer? What help do we need? What clarifications can I provide?
Nicole,
Yes,
do you recommend putting watermarks on your items?
I think that a watermark is helpful. However, if it can be recreated in Canva, it'll be recreated. If you don't have a copyright or trademark for it, then a watermark is just indicating that it's yours. And so people just don't steal your image. But if they can recreate it, they're going to recreate it. So ultimately, it's your call. I've seen both ways, but I do encourage if you go down the path of at a later point doing trademarks and copyrights that you definitely put your watermark on there, and that actually holds some water. Putting a watermark on it right now may not hold as much water if you try to, um, complain to somebody else. Because if it can be just recreated in Canva, they're just going to do that. So it's ultimately your call. The amount of time and effort to put the watermark on is not that, it's not that complicated. But again, making that decision if it's worth it right now. It depends on, what it is you're planning on creating and building and where you're planning on going with your business. So
Makes sense. Thank you.
yeah, so you got to make that call. But yeah, people, there's so many creative tools out there. And there's a lot of resources where you can just buy designs and they will sell the same designs to multiple people. So you putting a watermark on yours over somebody else buying the same design and putting a watermark on theirs, it's like,
Wow.
okay. I just, I'm still going to list it because I really don't own it. I can use it to, put on products and resell, but I don't own it. So you got to decide that.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Any other questions I can help answer? So at the end of the week, I'm hoping on Saturday that we can see a few people's stores and see where we are. If you are accepting the stretch goal and you did the minimum goal last week, by the end of the week, you'll have 10. If you accepted the stretch, if you're not doing the stretch goal and you did the minimum goal last week, this week you'll have 8. So 7. I can do, yeah, 8. I didn't think about that for a second. It was 3 last week. So yeah, so it'll be 8. Um, so I'm hoping we'll see a few people's stores and before we go into stage 2. So any other questions before I get started? All right. So this is one of the topics that is near and dear to my heart. And it's a basic topic. So the one thing that I would encourage you to do is if you have a Gmail account, it's always easier to build this out in Gmail. Um, or if you've got a planner, you can build it out in your planner. But like I said, what I found is that people have a hard time figuring out how to balance their business with their personal life and all the other obligations that they have. And hey, I get it. Trust me. This week has been a tightrope walk for me. And I'm a planner by nature. But the unexpected will sometimes throw you a curveball. So the first thing I always like to think through when I'm thinking through building out my schedule is I got to think about, the big priorities. So if you've got kids, you've got a spouse, what are the things that they already do that you already have to deal with, or that you're already involved in, or you're participating in? Maybe you have children that are in band or doing soccer camps or whatever that happens to be. Where is that happening in your life and when? And so when you get ready to build out a schedule so that we can carve out our goal, ultimate goal, is at a minimum to find 1 hour a week that we can sustain working on our, not a week, a day, that we can sustain working on our business every single day, no matter what. So 7 days a week. And I'll tell you why I say seven in just a second. And our stretch goal is at a minimum 2 hours every single week, no matter what. So the 1 hour every single day. I keep saying week, every single day, no matter what. So the 1 hour every single day, of course, we're going to be creating designs. And you may decide ultimately that I'm going to create and list 5 days a week, and I'm going to use 2 days a week to do research, or I'm going to use one day a week to do research. Um, because our strategy is whatever we create when we are doing it, what I call advanced planning, we're being very strategic. And so we're going to ultimately repurpose whatever we create. We're going to figure out how to repurpose it throughout the week so we can keep our working time down to 1 hour. Ultimately, that's the goal. So if that's the case, figuring out where that 1 hour of my life is going to come from is key. There's always a most productive time of the day for people and a least productive time of the day for people. If you ask me to create listings at 9 o'clock at night, it will take me 3 times the amount of time that it should to create a listing at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. For whatever reason, that is not my most productive and most optimal time of the day. I can work at it. I can work to focus. I can work to try to get stuff done, but it's just not happening. If you told me that I needed to create my listings at 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll probably be done before I was planning on being done, because that is my most efficient, most effective, my most productive time of the day. So, as part of this journey, all of us have a most productive time of the day. We just maybe have not identified it. We don't know it. We haven't figured it out. In addition to that, when you are in that window of your most productive time of the day, your goal, your objective is to not let anything bleed into that time, if possible. So, one of the strategies that I've implemented in my life is that I don't schedule doctor's appointments early in the morning. I don't schedule dentist appointments. I'm not telling anybody I want to meet with them or talk to them in the morning, because that's my window to actually get some stuff done. My kids understand you don't bother me before this time, because this is mommy's time to get some stuff done. So it's like a don't bother me zone, blocked off zone. And that may or may not be challenging for you. If you have a job, you've got to figure out where's that sweet spot where you can work your business. Um, in my journey at the beginning, I worked my business in what I refer to as the pockets. I worked it because of the fact that I have two kids that were going to speech therapy, occupational therapy, ABA therapy. We were always in some kind of therapy. We were always in the car going from one place to the other. And so I would work my business in the pockets. I would get up an extra 30 minutes in the morning, and I would work maybe 20 of those 30 minutes first thing in the morning before I refer to my son sometimes as a Tasmanian devil, would wake up and the whole day was taken off whether you were ready for it or not. And then before he would come home, because I've worked from home since off and on from 2005 to 2008, and then 100% from 2008 on. I've been at home. I've worked 100% from home since 2008. And I would do some things because I was actually working, not working a job, and then eventually running my own business, but working a job early on. And I would right before he came home, about 30 minutes before he came home, I'd work again in my business to prepare for the drive that we needed to do to go to therapy. So I would, pack up dinner or make sure I had wet wipes in the car. I would make sure my laptop was in the car. I had my notebook in the car. I had, whatever my listings were that I was focused on this week, or anything that I needed to know or I needed to have, I had it in a bag. And so I would get that bag ready, get in the car, make sure I had to go food. So I'd make something that they could eat in the car that wouldn't completely destroy the car. And that's what we would do. And then they would go into therapy. We would drive to the place. They go into therapy, and their therapy sessions were always 45 minutes and sometimes an hour and a half. And then there were a couple of times where it was like 2 hours. ABA was always 2 hours. So while they were in therapy, I'd walk in, I'd wait till they check in, I'd talk to the therapist, and then I would go back to the car and I would work in the car. And I knew that I had a solid, no less than, if they were there for 45 minutes, I had 30 minutes to work. So I'd already used 30 minutes in the morning. I sort of used a little bit of that 30 minutes right before they got home, but not much of it. I used 30 minutes in the car if it was a 45-minute session. If it was an hour and a half session, then I would work at least an hour and 20 minutes in the car, because I had to, shut everything down and close the laptop and all this other stuff. Go in there, get the kids, and then come back out. And then if it's a 2-hour session, then I would work for about an hour and 50 minutes in the car, so that I could get done whatever I needed to get done. And then when we got home, they'd already eaten dinner, so it was a matter of just getting the baths and getting that stuff done, and then getting them ready, getting their school clothes out for tomorrow. And then once I got them down, before I would completely pass out, because my son is a lot at the time, he's much better now. I would work to get in at least another 30 minutes, and that was my least productive time of the day. And I knew I wasn't going to get as much done. So I would put some of the easy stuff at the end of the day so that I could try to get through that. Now, that's the life of me as a retail arbitrager. I wasn't doing print on demand at the time. I wasn't, there were some things I wasn't doing. So fast forward to where I am today. If I had that same schedule, I would take advantage of that first 30 minutes of the day, and I would create my listings then, because I know that that's my most productive time of the day, to create my listings before they got up. If I was in the car with them and I was doing whatever, while they were at therapy, I would maybe create listings in the car, but I'd also do keyword research to get that done. So go through the keyword research stuff. And then at the end of the day, in that 30-minute window, when they were, going to bed, and just before I would completely pass out, I would use that last 30 minutes when I know I'm not going to be able to use my full brain to thoroughly do keyword research, thoroughly, design a product or whatever. I would do the easy stuff. I would do customer service then, responding to customer questions. I would maybe tweak a listing or relist something if I was listing on multiple platforms. I would go check to make sure that people had received their shipments. And I would do what I refer to as the easy admin stuff in that window, because I know that's my least productive time of the day. So for each one of you, you all have your own unique schedule and your own unique life situation. But I believe wholeheartedly that print on demand is a viable solution for busy moms, busy dads, busy families to be able to make money. I also think it's a great solution because you don't have to touch inventory. I have inventory in a storage unit. I have inventory downstairs. I have inventory in my garage. I have a lot of flipping inventory, which is crazy. I'm still moving it. The inventory is moving, but my goal, my life, is to get away from actually physically touching a thing if I can help it. So I still love retail arbitrage. I still love thrifting. I still love all the other things. I still have my bundles that I love creating, but my life is starting to evolve. And I'm like, I got to touch less inventory. I got to have less stuff around me so that I can move on with life. And if you are in that place, we got to find that sweet spot that works for you. So how do we find that sweet spot? Some of you are thinking the wheels are spinning. And so you're probably going through and thinking, okay, what are the key components of this print on demand journey? Well, of course, the only way you're going to make money is you got to put up a listing. Let's just start with that. Hashtag facts. That's your number one income producing activity, no matter what method of e-commerce you're doing and no matter what platform you're selling on. That's your number one income producing activity. Creating a listing because people can't buy what they can't find. Your number two in this instance, because it is print on demand, it's not necessarily an income producing activity, but it can contribute to income, is doing that keyword research and product research. Being strategic about what the things are that you plan on creating. So you need to carve out some time out of that 1 hour. So let's just talk hypothetically. I'm going to take that 1 hour and this is all the time I got. Okay. I'm going to spend 30. If I've gotten faster and better at creating listings over time, because right now we probably are not creating products as fast as we would like to, but it's okay. And we're probably not creating listings as fast as we want to, but it's okay. Grace and mercy, we'll get there. So at this moment, what your schedule and your life might look like right now might look completely different in another month or two because you've gotten faster, you've gotten better. You know, that whole riding the bicycle and getting better at it. So, with that being said, if I only had 1 hour a day, I would definitely break it up into 2 days out of the week doing my product research and my keyword research for sure. And then 5 days out of the week, taking that 1 hour and breaking that 1 hour up into 45 minutes and 15 minutes. Maybe 40 minutes, 15 minutes, and 5 minutes. So 45 minutes or 40 minutes is going to be creating the designs, but also being strategic about those designs. Because again, I'm going to repurpose them, rebundle them, create different clusters of them later on. And depending on the speed in which I'm able to create over time create products, I might be able to create 2 products a day. Then the 15 minutes, I would focus that on creating the listing. Because as I am creating the design, I'm going to go ahead and create that cover photo that goes with it. I hopefully will have already done some level of keyword research and title research and description. And maybe I have a template that I've created over time. You're not there yet, but you will get there. Where I have a template that I can just do a copy paste situation. And that way all the pertinent stuff comes in and all I have to do is edit it. Makes it much faster to create listings over time. If I'm doing my research on the keywords and the titles and the products that I want to design, I've mapped out my week. I've mapped out which products I'm going to create and then repurpose later on in the week in different ways, like we did yesterday's exercise. Then I have a good idea of what I'm creating on, let's say I do my planning on Sunday and Monday. So then I know what I'm doing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Or maybe I do my planning on Saturday and Sunday, and I know what I'm creating Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So if I know what I'm creating, it's going to make it much faster for me to be able to create. I may be able to create 2 products a day, maybe one, and then spend 15 minutes creating that listing and 5 minutes in any other administrative activity. Whatever that happens to be, customer service, checking to make sure the emails went out, follow up with customers, sending thank you emails. You can automate some of that stuff, but doing some of the additional things. Now, are there other things that we need to be doing? Yeah, but for the most part, if I'm going to trim it down to 1 hour, that's how I'm going to cram it all in. And then anything extra that I have to do, if I'm doing product research on Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to do 40 minutes of product research on Saturday and keyword research, 40 minutes of product research on Sunday and keyword research, using on Sunday the remaining 20 minutes to do the planning out the entire week, so that when I sort of clock into work, quotation marks in the air, I am ready to go for that full hour. I am on and I am pedal to the metal, pedal to the floor. I'm going. I would take that extra 20 minutes that's on the tail end of Saturday and I would do all the extra stuff that I need to do. And then one last thing that I would do is I would pick one day a month where I kind of do all the other stuff that I need to do in my business as an e-commerce seller, or that I want to do in my business as an e-commerce seller. One day out of the month where maybe I spend 2 extra hours or 3 extra hours. Maybe I learn a new skill. Maybe I'm doing a bunch of accounting and bookkeeping and reconciliation. Maybe I'm reworking some listings, changing titles. I'm going through that process. So I'm going to pause for just a second. Have I painted sort of a semi-clear picture, or is it foggy and I need to clarify something?
It sounds pretty clear to me.
Yeah, it sounds pretty clear. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I want you all to consider this a sustainable business that you can carry into the rest of the year and that is doable. I highly recommend, if you can find the 2 hours, that you do the 2 hours, because you're going to make more money at the 2 hours than you will at the 1 hour. But it is going to require a massive amount of consistency. So the only way that you can be consistent at something is that you have made time for it. So some of us go to church. We make time to go to church on Sunday. It's a part of our routine. It's been something we do all the time. It serves us well. We're not changing that schedule. Some of us go to Bible study on Wednesday night. It's been serving us well. Or we go to life groups and we're going to stick with it because it serves us well. Maybe sometimes we get up and I don't know, go meet a friend at the coffee shop every Friday. And it's a thing that's part of your routine and it's part of your life. So you have things that are part of your routine. I don't want to touch your routines if they are serving you well. If one of your routine is to binge watch things on YouTube or to sit there and watch stuff on Netflix or to be on TikTok for hours, that is not serving you well because you're not making any money in that action or activity. So I'm going to suggest that you do something else in that time slot. But if you have some things that you already know are serving you well, then that's great. If you don't know where to put this, and you're willing to, you feel like maybe the morning is my best time of the day, or maybe after I go to the gym, that's my best time of the day. If you feel like that's your best time of the day, then let's go through the process of building a schedule to where you work in your business every morning, and let's say it's 7 to 8, or let's say it's 6 to 7. No matter what, when I'm tired, I still work in my business. When something has happened, I still work in my business. Now, I'm not going to say that that doesn't move around from time to time, but it needs to be the 90 rule, not the 10 rule, not an 80-20 rule, a 90-10. The only exceptions to the rules when something major has happened, like if my son has a seizure, there's no way that I'm getting anything done that morning. Like we're probably still at the ER. So I'm going to get over it. And whatever was supposed to happen today, it's all right. Hands up in the air. It will be okay. I'll come back to it when I have a chance. And that happens from time to time because my son does have seizures. So those are things that are completely out of my control. I can't control that. But I can control scheduling doctor's appointments. And I can insist on, if the morning is going to be your dedicated time, I can insist on afternoon appointments or late morning appointments. If I get phone calls from my mom early in the morning or from one of my friends, I can choose not to answer the phone during my work window. So you have to think about it as I'm clocking into work. So I'm going to use the Gmail and I'm just going to pretend that this is my schedule. It's not my schedule and it's not even my calendar. But so let's say hypothetically, I'm going to get up and I'm going to work in my business every single Monday through Friday. And I'm going to work in my business from 7 to 8 a.m. So the great thing about Google, if you have that you can use the Gmail calendar. I like to color code stuff because it's easier for me. So I can choose the different colors that are available to me. You can choose which calendar you want it added to because there's some calendars that they make available. And then you can add a new calendar if you want to add a new calendar. So if you needed to add a new calendar, you can add a new calendar. So you can choose a color that you feel like works for me. So I will tell you that most of the time when I create my calendar, green is the color of money. So I know that if I am engaged, if it's green, that's an income producing activity. And when somebody asks me, are you available for a coaching session? I'll be like, what time? And then they say 8 o'clock. I'll be like, no, I'm not. Because that's my window for income producing. If they're paying me to meet them, that's one story. But if it's a free coaching session, I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. So I try not to schedule things in that window because I'm working to build the habit that is my work time. So if you work at 9 to 5, you know that you got to be at work at 9 o'clock, or you know you got to be at work at 8 o'clock. That's your work time. You don't move that around. 90% of the time you're at work at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and it's something that doesn't change. So you have to think about your business in the same way until you get to a place where you don't have to think about your business in the same way. So figure out what that window is. So if I'm going to start this journey, I'm going to choose a green color because that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to do my income producing activity first. That means that I did my research earlier in the week, what I was going to create. So I already knew what I was getting up to do. So if I am putting together, because I have a special needs son, so I might put this is my listing time. I'll put the details of what I'm doing on each day. You can put that in here, or you can put it on your eCom planner if you have an eCom planner. But I will put that as the listing activity, and I'm going to just do for 45 minutes for the sake of this exercise. When I click on the drop down, I change it to custom, and then I will make it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I'm done. And it's recurring, and it happens every week. And I go ahead and save. So now I have a listing activity that shows up on my calendar at 7 o'clock. I'm not doing anything other than listing. Then I have sort of a customer service and shipping related activity. I'm checking to make sure that, the little automated email went out, that the customer got it. I might do some follow up, marketing to them, whatever it happens to be. And I'm going to put that in here as well. I'm going to put it as a repeat. And I'm going to choose a different color. I'm going to choose Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I click done. I'll choose a different. I'll leave it at the teal. And you can set a reminder if you want to. It's just for 15 minutes. Okay. And then I'm going to save. Now, if you have like a spouse and you're like, I need you to take care of the kids first thing in the morning while I work on my store, my print on demand business for 1 hour. All I'm asking it for is 1 hour. I need you to get the kids ready in the morning. You might want to add them to the calendar. Just saying, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. So now I have this customer service. Now there's, like I said, there's other things. You're going to be running promotions and ads and sales and all that other stuff. And you can figure out strategically when you want to do that. Maybe you add another 15 minutes to do your promotions, ads, sales, rework listings, other things that you want to do in your business, administrative stuff, see what's happening. You can do that. As I go through this process, this is where I was saying I'm going to do my product research and my potential sourcing, especially if I'm doing print on demand and I'm going like with Printful, Printify, Redbubble, whatever T Spring or whatever the name of it is. I may decide that I am going to go through that exercise. So I'm going to choose a different color because the stuff that when I'm not creating a listing, that's not an income producing activity. When I'm creating a listing, that is an income producing activity. So I'm going to choose a different color, but it is important. So this is where I'm going to do my product research, keyword research. You can abbreviate it however you want to. So I'm going to do product research, keyword research, and sourcing. Okay. And I'm going to do that for at least an hour, 45 minutes, maybe, or sorry, for 45 minutes. And I'm going to click on the drop down for custom, and I'm going to make that something I do every Saturday and Sunday. I want to do that. Okay, done. And I'm going to save. And so now that's going to repeat on my calendar. I'm going to take the next 15 minutes, the remaining 15 minutes, and I'm just going to use that for admin, catch up, and, sales, promotions, other types of things. Because once a month, I'm going to have a dedicated, like maybe an hour's worth of planning, and hours, because you're going to be thinking ahead. This is where I'm going to go through and I'm going to be thinking about in my calendar, in my ecom planner, I'm going to be thinking about the holidays that are coming up. I'm going to be thinking about the every individual holiday, monthly holidays that are coming up. And I'm going to be thinking about them 2 months in advance or maybe 3 months in advance. So once a month, I'm really going to get strategic and I'm going to sit down for maybe 3 hours, go away, like maybe go to the coffee shop for 3 hours once a month and do 1 hour's worth of monthly planning, 1 hour's worth of admin and reconciliation stuff, and 1 hour's worth of whatever else extra you need to do in your business to kind of catch up. Now I have a list If you haven't already downloaded the daily ecom planning checklist or the monthly or the weekly, you can download it because I kind of break down a whole bunch of stuff around driving traffic and all this other stuff. But if we're going to keep it high level at 1 hour, you're not going to get as deep into all those other things. You're going to be shallow in those other things, but you're still going to be working strategically to get the sales that you're working to get in your business. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to call this other for the sake of getting through this exercise. And I'm going to list this as other. I'm going to click on repeat. It's going to be Saturday and Sunday, and I'm done. And I'm going to save. So now I have gone through the process of creating a schedule that has all of the stuff that I'm doing in my business every single week as I'm going through the process of just working 1 hour in my business a week. 2 hours is going to be optimal. 1 hour, you can still get it done. Okay. 1 hour with an extra 2 to 3 hours a month, just as a one-time deal. So what I want you all to do is I want you to think about when's your most productive time of the day. And if it's doable, can you begin the process of putting together a schedule so that you will always make sure you have time to create these listings? Because right now you're struggling with ideas and concepts and maybe trying to figure out where to squeeze in the time to even do this. And so now we're going to be intentional and we're going to look for the time that works best based off of our life, our current schedule, our current routines, so that we can build a real schedule that's going to help us be able to sustain doing print on demand. We're going to try out this real schedule for the next 2 weeks. Whatever this real schedule is that you build today, you get to tweak it again tomorrow. And then on Sunday, we're going to try it on, walk around in it and see how it fits. I get that from Ted Lasso. So we're going to try it on. And we're going to try it on for 2 weeks. And if it's doable and it feels comfortable, you're going to stick with it. You may have multiple versions of the schedule over time, but for the most part, this is probably the schedule. And you're going to use that as your basis to be able to sustain doing print on demand. If you are looking to make more in print on demand, I'm going to encourage you to find 2 hours at a minimum. And over time, we're going to work for you to be able to also find a VA. You can do that with the 1 hour as well, because then the VA can do some of the extra stuff that you don't have the time commitment to be able to do. But your VA work and activity is probably a couple of months out because you got to work through what your long-term game plan is. So was this sort of helpful? Did I paint a clear enough picture?
Yeah, that was very helpful
Okay.
to me.
So if you're struggling to find time to do or participate in the print on demand challenge, we're going to use this schedule now. You need to find the time to work in your business no less than 1 hour. You're technically going to be doing an hour and a half because you do 30 minutes worth of training and then you're doing an hour's worth of work. You're going to feel like you're not making any traction by just doing an hour. But again, over time, you will get faster. You will get better. Ideas will come to you a little bit better. You'll use some of the tools and the strategies and techniques we talked about. And then we're going to say, okay, it's time for your monthly planning. What are the things that we need to be thinking about in the monthly planning? Well, in my mind, I'll be thinking about 2 months in advance on all those daily holidays because that's low hanging fruit. Low hanging fruit is that's quick money. Okay. People are going to be buying or interested in this stuff anyway. I can still focus on my other main program. So I can still focus on scriptures, or I can still focus on endangered speakers. I can still focus on smoothies. I can still focus on reading programs. Like I can still focus on that and take advantage of some of that low hanging fruit because people are going to be buying that stuff anyway. So build your schedule. Build your schedule. We're going to try it on Sunday. We're going to talk about it again tomorrow. We're going to try it on Sunday because tomorrow we're going to talk about the game plan as part of the schedule. So that's your assignment, is to go ahead and build a schedule. Any questions? Any feedback? Any comments? Am I alone in this world?
No.
No, you're not alone.
Just processing.
Just processing. All right. Was this partially helpful?
Yes, definitely.
All right. Let's build a schedule, and then tomorrow we're gonna pull in our game plan as part of that schedule so we can be more strategic. Okay. With that, I am going to say goodbye for now. If you have questions, you need some help, you need me to come in 15 minutes early tomorrow, please ping me. Let me know. You can tell me now. I can come tomorrow because I can help you get caught up if you're not caught up.
I can meet you tomorrow, Nicole.
Okay. I'll jump on at 5:45.
Okay.
Okay. All right, ladies. I hope you have an amazing one, and we'll talk later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye for now.
Thank you.